Good morning. In this 245th year since the founding of Phillips Academy and the 195th year since the founding of Abbott Academy, we now begin the commencement exercises at the exhibition for the class of 2023. I welcome you to the campus spaces that have held commencement for generations. We process up the Chandler Warmley Vista, a distinctive and vast space that honors the first two Black alumnae of Abbott Academy, Beth Chandler and Cheryl Warmley, who graduated in the class of 1955. And now we gather here on the Greener Quad, named in honor of alumnus Richard T. Greener, Andover class of 1865, whose trailblazing work during the post-Civil War era touched the lives of faculty, students, and statesmen alike. Both patches of land figure prominently into the school's traditions, most notably today. I would like to share the following acknowledgement that was approved by the Board of Trustees in November 2021. We are on native land. We acknowledge Phillips Academy's presence on land once inhabited by the Pennacook and Pawtucket peoples, as well as the modern-day Abenaki, Massachusetts, Wampanoag, Wabanaki, Pokanoet, and Nipmuc nations. Phillips Academy honors all indigenous peoples who are here now, have been here for time immemorial, and will be here in the future. I invite you to pause and recognize the space in which we gather, in front of Samuel Phillips Hall, named for our founder. The combination of these spaces reflects who we strive to be as a community, inclusive and courageous.
Class of 2023, I return us to Irish mystic John O'Donohue, who writes, "Every life is braided with luminous moments." This commencement has been quietly forming within each of you since you first stepped on Andover's campus. Today's new beginning growing, waiting, emerging in you until you were ready to step forward into the grace and brightness of this day. As a class, your lives have been, and in many ways will continue to be, braided together. And I hope you remember and embrace your time here as brilliant with luminous moments. From the very first and personal triumph that sparked within you those first weeks here as you understood yourself in new and unexpected ways, to the aha light bulb moments in physics or in a research paper, while learning to row or paint or play the harp. And from the candle, battery operated, burning late into the night, while stories were told, debates were held, snacks were consumed, tears were shared, others' languages, ideas, cultures were learned, and deep friendships were forged, to one of your last Andover luminous moments when you held your candle high at last night's baccalaureate service. As you leave this place, claim the blessings of all of your stories, singular and unique in pattern and intricacy, yet now tightly entangled and forever woven into the history of this place. May the beauty of these interconnected stories be a witness to our world of the possibilities of a global community, of a welcoming space for all who seek a home, of a place new neighbors are wrapped in love, and a witness to all that is good, humane, and affirming of dignity. May places of darkness within you be turned toward the light, that you may be a beacon of hope on the paths opening to you, with the courage to speak for the excluded ones, to unfold greater kindness, compassion, and justice in our world. May the blessings of this day illumine all that is unlived in you and is now opening to the infinite. May the light of our God of many names, God in whom dawn and twilight are one, shine upon you, honoring all in you that is precious, gifted with promise and with love. And may your life continue to be braided with many luminous moments. And for this we say, amen.
You may be seated. Members of the school, families, friends, we are about to honor those members of the senior class who, by reason of intellectual curiosity, high scholarship, and good character, have won membership in the Cum Laude Society. Will the members-elect please stand? The Phillips Academy chapter was founded in 1907, and in 1926, Abbott Academy became the first girls' school to establish a chapter. Up to 20% of the senior class is inducted, as measured by their scholarship in senior year, and in keeping with Cum Laude's motto of excellence, justice, and honor. Members-elect, as you pursue your education, it is our hope that you will accept the honor of membership in this society as a responsibility to make contributions to the ongoing search for greater understanding of the world in which we live. In testimony of your admission to the Cum Laude Society, by the authority of the society duly granted, you will be presented with certificates after the diploma ceremony. Congratulations.
The distinguished accomplishments of the class of 2023 are recognized in the prizes and honors awarded to the members of this class, many of which have already been announced. At this time, we award 5 prizes to members of the senior class. When I call your name, please come to the podium to receive your award, then remain here with Mrs. Falls for a group photo. The non-SIBI award is given to an individual chosen for outstanding service to others in this school or beyond. This year's recipient is Kelly Boo. Do we want to, actually, we. Okay, you stay there. The Yale Bowl is awarded to that member of the senior class who has attained the highest proficiency in scholarship and athletics. This year's recipient is Sam Gallaudet. Congratulations. The faculty prize is awarded to that member of the graduating class outstanding on scholarship during the senior year. This year's recipient is Alice Van. The Madam Sarah Abbott Award is presented to the student in the senior class who, in the opinion of the faculty and fellow classmates, best exemplifies the qualities attributed to Madam Sarah Abbott: strong character, effective leadership, and outstanding scholarship. This year's recipient is Samira Robinson. Okay, it's raining, you know this. The Raynard Honor Society Award is given annually by Yale University to that member of the graduating class who, in the opinion of the faculty and fellow classmates, is outstanding in sterling character, high scholarship, and forceful leadership. This year's recipient is Nigel Savage. You guys got it? Yeah, they want it. Now I am pleased to introduce our two student speakers, school co-presidents, Nigel Savage and Sui Yu. You're gonna first and then she's going second. Okay, you're gonna go second, she'll go.
All right. What's good, class of 2023? Whoa! Good morning, everyone. First, I would like to thank my family and my friends for supporting me. My friends for always being there for me, and all the faculty and administrators who pushed me to my fullest potential. I'd also like to thank my partner in crime, Sui Yu, for being the best co-president I could ever ask for. Let's give a round of applause for Sui, guys, come on. And lastly, I'd like to thank the trustees and alumni whose gifts made my time here possible. Without everyone's emotional, academic, and financial support, I would not be standing here. Today's commencement marks a bittersweet end to a profound journey. Unfortunately, this is likely the last time that we, the class of 2023, will all be in one place together. And while we will shed a tear or two at some point today, take comfort in knowing that today's end also marks a new beginning. I've watched as we all have faced challenges and from that grown into such strong, intellectual, compassionate young adults. And while we've seen our fair share of hardships, it's important that we recognize how blessed we are to have gone to a school like Andover. We've had the blessing of not just great instruction, but amazing people. Whether it was a friend, a coach, a teacher, or a house counselor, we all have had people here who have cared deeply about us and did everything they could to help us succeed. I didn't fully understand this until the fall term of my upper year. My family was going through a difficult time back home, and instead of being able to be there with them, I was here, 1,000 miles away. I struggled in silence, not wanting to let anyone know how I was feeling. I remember one night I was in the common room with my friend Nick, and I was feeling particularly homesick. And instead of doing his own homework, he stayed up with me until 2 a.m. playing FIFA. At that moment, all I needed was someone who was there for me, someone who saw me, someone who made me feel as if I belonged. It wasn't just these big moments that made me feel special, though. It was the daily breakfast with Ananya, my long runs in cross country with Rohan and Aiden, the endless games of fish in the library, and the late night talks with my house counselors. All of these people, all of you, made a short kid from a small Georgia town feel like Andover was a place for him too. While our stories are different, all of us have had someone here who had our backs no matter what. And while we look back on our time and appreciate those who have helped us along this journey, we also must realize that most kids around the world don't have the level of support that we've had these past 4 years. We, as graduates of Phillips Academy Andover, have been the recipients of immense privilege, and now we have a responsibility to serve. This value isn't foreign to us. It's embedded in the very document our school is founded upon. Written on the walls of GW and in the constitution of our school are the words, "Though goodness without knowledge is weak and feeble, yet knowledge without goodness is dangerous. Both united form the noblest character and lay the surest foundation of usefulness to mankind." This values of service is central to who we are as Andover students, and it is part of what this school has prepared us to do. And when I say service, I don't mean just a one-day event or financial donations. And don't get me wrong, these are great acts of charity. But when I say we have an obligation to serve, I mean we have an obligation to touch people's hearts, to make an impact on people's lives, and to love people just as all the people here at Andover have loved us. You know, Maya Angelou said it best. In the end, people won't remember what you did. They won't remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. As we look to the world that our generation is inheriting, it's easy to be pessimistic. The climate change crisis, a brutal land war in Ukraine, and ongoing discrimination and racism give us plenty of challenges to fear. However, when I look at you guys, I'm filled with hope. I see the sense of knowledge and goodness. I see the spirit of non-civi. I see the soul of a people that care about others. I see change makers. I see industry leaders. I see heads of state. I see journalists. Most importantly, I see a group that understands they have a responsibility to serve. That is why, despite all reasons to fear, I have hope. And I don't mean blind optimism. My hope comes from a confidence in you all. I'm not daunted by the future ahead of us. Instead, I'm excited to see what my brilliant peers will do next. As I conclude, I want you to close your eyes. Indulge me. Think of someone special who you couldn't have done Andover without. Now, I have 2 things I want you to do. First, at some point today, thank that person. And second, I want you to go out and be that special person in someone else's life. There is nothing more powerful than love, and the greatest way to express love is through service. Class of 23, this has been an amazing ride. Thank you so much for welcoming me into you as a new lower, for making me your co-president, and for calling me your friend. I will always love you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Andover. Nigel out.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning to the class of 2023. You'll have to excuse my voice. I had too good of a time at prom. I would like to begin by thanking my parents, my brother, and my grandparents. I am nobody without their love and their support. I want to thank my teachers whose valuable lessons have shaped who I am inside and outside of the classroom. And I want to thank my prefectees from Paul who keep me young. I want to thank my friends. You all are what make this place so incredible and so hard to leave. And lastly, I want to thank Nigel, whose kind leadership and brilliance inspire me every day. Thank you. I've been thinking about graduation for a long time, whether that is in the form of the frustrated, I can't wait to get out of here after a hard week, in the form of excited chatter about grad week events, or most recently in the form of the crushing realization that I might actually be leaving this place. When I think back on my time at Andover, I can't help but associate it with a kind of awkwardness. And there are many different kinds of awkwardness, and one can be found in everyday interactions, like the unspoken awkwardness at the Commons water stations. In a smaller community like ours, it is bound to be full of tangential and causal relationships. Every day you have run-ins with friends of friends, someone you used to have a class with, a crush, etc. And at the Commons water cooler, you and whoever's with you have an awkward amount of time. Too long to stand in silence as water slowly fills your cup, but too short to have a real conversation. Awkward as I may be, I have found it is just enough time to ask, how is your day? Today holds potential for a new kind of awkwardness. I think many of our goodbyes will be awkward. Many of us acknowledge that we will see each other again, but many of us acknowledge that it will never be the same. Perhaps this awkwardness stems from the fact that we will say our goodbyes, but know that these words will never convey how much we will miss each other, how much we will miss seeing these faces in this place and at this time. And after we run into the circle on the Great Lawn, there will be a third kind of awkwardness. An awkwardness that we have experienced before and are bound to experience again. The awkwardness that comes from the question, what now? An awkwardness that comes from a new sense of ambiguity about your place in the world. And to me, it is the same kind of awkwardness that we experience when we first arrive at Andover. Many of us, when we first arrive, are physically awkward. As gangly 14, 15-year-olds, we experience an awkwardness that occurs when our limbs are too big for our bodies, and our bodies are too small for our minds. An awkwardness that occurs when we leave our homes for the first time and enter the world before us. And a few months from now, when we find ourselves in distant and unfamiliar places, we will experience that exact kind of awkwardness. But with this feeling of awkwardness comes another feeling, a feeling of excitement, wonder, and awe. You will no doubt experience a feeling of awe when everything is new to you. You will find yourself in awe of the people that you meet. You will find yourself in awe of the resources offered to you. And you will find yourself in awe of you and the possibilities of who you can be. And as a consequence of this awe, you will be curious. You will dig to find your people, discover new passions, and ground yourself in the communities you find yourself to be a part of. And eventually, things won't feel so awkward anymore. But when we find a kind of comfort in the absence of awkwardness, we might feel inclined to protect it. We might feel inclined to stay comfortable, to stay insular, and to stay the same. So in a conscious effort to preserve the sense of awe, even when our world becomes familiar, we must learn to revel in our discomfort, revel in our awkwardness. We must challenge ourselves to seek the unknown and to find new ways of looking at the world we think we already know. And at the end of the day, this is no selfish endeavor. To remain in awe requires that we engage with wonder as an ongoing practice. It requires that we be empathetic, that we be critical. It requires that we look outside of our own world and return to it with a new understanding of who we are and what we could possibly do. Given that we have been privileged with a remarkable education, it is important that we maintain a sort of curiosity. We have a greater obligation to keep challenging ourselves, a greater obligation to stay curious about our place in the world, and a greater obligation to keep thinking about that question, what now? And a greater obligation to keep feeling in awe of the world and to keep feeling awkward. It has been an honor and a privilege to be here today, and I stand in awe of each and every single one of you. And my heart is so full of all the possibilities of what we might achieve. Andover and the class of 2023, I will never get to say this enough. Thank you.
Good morning, Andover. Let me add my welcome to our graduating students, families, and guests, our faculty and staff, faculty emeriti, and members of the Board of Trustees. Parents and families, thank you for entrusting Andover with the education of your children. The pathways they have forged to arrive at this day are uniquely theirs. All they have invested in their intellectual pursuits, in their friendships, and in themselves now form the surest foundation for a bright future. Now, after last year's commencement ceremony, an older alumnus wearing a bow tie stopped me and commented that he had attended both the 2021 and the 2022 commencements and had heard both of my speeches. He said in that direct New England way, "You were better this year, but you still talk too fast and too long." So I hope to be even better this year on both counts. Today, I ask you to consider how you will take your Andover education into a world that's vastly different from that experienced by any previous generation. The main driver being the ubiquity of technology in our lives. Technology puts the world at your fingertips and ironically makes it all too easy to retreat from real life. It's tempting to stay in your personal enclave, to surround yourself with like-minded people, to let technology do the work or have an outsized influence in your lives. You may have heard about the Surgeon General's recent advisory on social media and youth mental health. He cautioned that we do not have an adequate understanding of the scope and the scale of social media's impact on adolescent mental health. He faulted tech companies for their lack of transparency and for limiting access to data. Now, we know there are benefits and risks inherent to these platforms, but it's clear that our knowledge of their impact is much too limited. Now, of course, social media's benefits include providing connections and affirmation, especially for those who often need it most, marginalized groups like LGBTQ+ and people with disabilities, for example. On the other hand, we know that 24/7 technology commonly exposes young people to inappropriate or harmful content and can lead to risky behaviors. Now, I share this not as a public health physician looking to dampen your big day, but in the spirit of our motto, goodness and knowledge. Your generation ultimately will be the one to address technology's shortcomings and to find solutions toward healthier and safer uses of technology, especially online environments. Each generation faces its own set of complicated issues that demand its attention and action. And you are not the first generation to deal with the impact of technology. Even the famous 1945 Harvard report entitled General Education in a Free Society discussed the implications of the technological advances that were being faced at the time in education: radio, film, recordings, television. But today's tech advances are of unprecedented complexity and magnitude. Almost all the issues you face connect to technology in some way. I share the Surgeon General's advisory with confidence that Andover has equipped you with the skills needed to navigate toward the promise of technology and away from its pitfalls. Your teachers gave you agency in the classroom while guiding your learning. You challenged and supported one another while also staying true to your own beliefs. Think of the reasons why you chose PA, why you chose to immerse yourself in an intentionally diverse community, why a rigorous academic program was important to you. You came to PA to learn how to think critically and independently about the world and the challenges it presents us. You came here to help develop your own values and ideals, to interrogate what is right and just based on those ideals. Our job as educators is not to tell you what to think, but to teach you how to think. Unlike today's technologies, we don't aim to predict your next move. Your teachers can say with confidence that not only are you prepared for college, but you're also prepared for the demands of today's society, prepared to foresee what the world needs, and prepared to conceive and create solutions that are completely unknown to us today. As our time together comes to a close, I'd be remiss not to acknowledge that you have already proven your ability to navigate the unknown. Your education and so much else was disrupted by the pandemic in real and lasting ways. Each year presented its own unique challenges: remote learning, hybrid, high-flex learning, COVID testing, masks, vaccinations. You've been through a lot. You've been shaped by these experiences, you've been tested, and you have responded with remarkable resilience and determination. When we invoke our goodness and knowledge founding principle, as Nigel reminded us earlier, it's important to remember the entire passage, and I want to focus on the second part of the quote. Knowledge without goodness is dangerous. It would be hard to find a more concise and more prophetic articulation of today's challenges with technology than those few words written almost 250 years ago in our school's constitution. Knowledge without goodness is dangerous. I want to double down on this institutional value and encourage you as newly minted alumni to continue doing what you have done so well during your time at Andover. Unite goodness and knowledge and ask the important questions, those that require nuanced understanding beyond what today's technology can serve up. Questions whose answers require a goodness that technology will never provide. What do others need from you? What do your family, your community, your discipline, the world need? Ask yourself what is missing in these spaces, and then fill that void with those pieces of yourself that you discovered and refined as a student here. Class of 23, when these questions come up, lean on the foundation of your Andover experience for guidance. Your deliberate pursuit of goodness and knowledge forms a compelling case for what you will do tomorrow, next year, and well into the future. Good luck and Godspeed. The Dean of Studies will now present the candidates for diplomas to the Board of Trustees. Will the seniors please rise?
Ms. Falls, I am proud on behalf of the faculty to present to you the members of the class of 2023. As listed in the order of exercises, these students have successfully completed all of the requirements prescribed by the faculty. They should therefore be awarded diplomas of Phillips Academy.
Thank you, Ms. Oden. Members of the class of 2023, by virtue of the powers vested in me by the trustees of Phillips Academy, it is my responsibility and great pleasure to award you these diplomas of Phillips Academy.
I would like to invite Sarah Coddington, Theo Kim, Lauren Mahoney, Thomas O'Brien, Miles Palmer, and Dorian Wang to receive symbolic diplomas on behalf of their classmates from Mrs. Falls. Please rise for the singing of Gaudeamus.
This is the day that the Lord has made. On it, we will rejoice and be glad. As I look out at your faces, it is easy to see how the psalmist captured this morning's mood. It is a glorious day, a day of rejoicing, a day of pride, undoubtedly a day of relief as well. But there is a missing element in that biblical verse, an essential element: gratitude. Gratitude for the gift of life itself, gratitude for having reached this special milestone in your young lives, gratitude for the intelligence, the skills, and the resilience that you have been given and which you have developed that have brought you to this moment. Gratitude for the many people without whom you wouldn't be here today, your family, your friends, your teachers, and countless others that are part of this academy. I was deeply moved by the words of Nigel and Suey this morning, both of whom infused their remarks with gratitude. So as you rejoice and celebrate, I encourage you to heed the advice of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you, and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. This is the day that the Lord has made. Graduates, rejoice and be glad, and may you do so with hearts overflowing with gratitude.
So we come to the end of this journey. This envelope of this commencement weekend is now closing, and in a moment, we will take to the lawn for one more circle together for the class of 2023. We who gather are grateful for you, class of 23, for the ways that you shared of your whole self while you were with us on this campus, with abandon and trust, with curiosity and care, with openness and resilience. Be carried now by our gratitude for you, that our thankfulness for you might mirror your thankfulness for Andover. There might be a place on this campus, the particular laughter of a friend, a precious experience that you shared, something that you learned here that you already know will be a bedrock in your future. Maybe there's so much gratitude in you right now that you cannot wrap your hands around it. Or perhaps the suggestion of gratitude seems beyond your capacity at this moment. Gratitude can be small or big, specific and broad. So let us imagine that gratitude is swirling around us, whatever fantastical, colorful, beautiful way that gratitude might look if it were visible. And then carry that color, that shape, that image from here to the Great Lawn, into the remainder of your day, into whatever this week or the coming ones will ask of you. Let gratitude come. Let it wash over you and carry you into tomorrow. For gratitude always carries blessings within it, complete with hope, a belief and a faith that we are all part of something bigger than we can see at any moment. May this journey conclude with grace, love, intention, and with all gratitude. Amen.
Peyton, how long do you have to stay up there?